Welcome to the Edgeworth Echoes podcast, discovering Edgeworthstown, a hidden gem of Irish history.
Welcome to another episode of the Edgeworth Echoes podcast. This is your host, John. In this episode, we meet a man who is described as a difficult mixture of reserve, pride, kindness, modesty, courtesy and stubbornness. He is also described as brilliant but eccentric. His name is Francis Ysidro Edgeworth, who made his name as an economist in the early part of the 20th century. Francis Ysidro was born in 1845 in Edgeworth, the youngest of 5 children. His father was Francis Beaufort Edgeworth, the 21st child of Richard Lovell Edgeworth, and his mother was Rosa Fiorentina Eroles from Spain. Interestingly, like his father before him, Francis had eloped with Rosa to get married in 1831 and were both welcomed into the larger Edgeworth family in Edgeworth, and Rosa's mother came to stay with her daughter. Rosa was well liked by Maria Edgeworth, who wrote a letter to her brother Michael Pakenham Edgeworth describing the new addition to the Edgeworth household.
When her face is lighted up by feeling, as we speak to her or as she speaks, it is intelligent, expressive of affection, and very engaging, quite natural and true, and it thus makes her so very interesting. Rosa's simplicity is joined to good sense and an independent steadiness of character. She is not at all literary, but judges well and expresses herself originally of everything she reads or hears read or spoken of. The more I see of Rosa, the more I like her. Francis is very happy.
When Francis Beaufort died in Dublin in 1846, Maria wrote a short note to Rosa to acknowledge Rosa's loss.
Oh, my dear admirable Rosa, what you must have gone through. Heaven preserve you and sustain you.
At the time of Maria's death in 1849, Rosa was with her. Rosa wrote an account of this to Dr. Philip Crampton, the family physician and General Surgeon of Ireland in Dublin, recollecting that Maria was travelling to Trim when she took ill and decided to return to Edgeworth.
We gave her brandy, which she swallowed with avidity. After that great shuffle, she was able to walk up to her little room, took one of her accustomed pills, and appeared quite quiet. She did not pass a good night. I was with her at 6 o'clock yesterday. She appeared haggard, but I thought I had often seen her worse. She told me of various things she wished me to do. I went to my room to write. My mother came to my room saying, "She is much better. She is sitting in her bed and has begged me to go down and make breakfast." No sooner had my mother disappeared when Maria's maid rushed into my room, exclaiming, "Mrs. Francis!" I hurried to Maria's room. She fixed her eyes on me, and in an instant after, she was no more.
Francis Ysidro Edgeworth's early education was unconventional. He was tutored privately at home, focusing on classical languages and literature. At 17, he entered Trinity College, Dublin, where he studied French, German, Spanish and Italian, reflecting his passion for languages. After graduating, he secured a scholarship to Oxford, enrolling at Exeter College in January 1867. Interestingly, during his university years, Edgeworth did not exhibit a particular interest in mathematics. His academic pursuits were primarily in the humanities. It was only after completing his formal education that Edgeworth developed an interest in mathematics and its application to social sciences. This self-directed study led him to explore the burgeoning field of mathematical economics. Edgeworth's 1881 book, Mathematical Physics, an essay on the application of mathematics to the moral sciences, introduced mathematical techniques to economics. He developed utility theory, focusing on how individuals make choices to maximise satisfaction. He introduced the Edgeworth box, a graphical tool that illustrates how two individuals can trade two goods to achieve mutual benefit. This diagram helps visualize efficient allocations of resources and is widely used in microeconomics to analyze market behavior and the benefits of trade. Beyond economics, Edgeworth made significant contributions to statistics, particularly in probability theory. In monopoly theory, Edgeworth examined how firms with limited capacity set prices, leading to what is now known as the Edgeworth paradox. This paradox describes situations where no stable equilibrium price exists because firms continuously undercut each other's prices, complicating the prediction of market outcomes. There's no escaping the fact that the work of Francis Ysidro was influential. His pioneering work in applying mathematics to economics and statistics has had a lasting impact, providing tools and concepts that remain central to economic theory and statistical analysis today. Edgeworth's work was not widely accepted during his lifetime, partly due to his difficult writing style. His most famous book, Mathematical Physics, was praised for its originality but criticised for its complexity. One commentator wrote,
Whatever else readers of this book may think about it, they would probably all agree that it is a very remarkable book. However, his style, if not obscure, is implicit, so that the reader is left to puzzle out every important sentence like an enigma.
On the other hand, his friend John Maynard Keynes had this to say.
Edgeworth's peculiarities of style, his brilliance, his caution, his shrewdness, his wit, his subtlety, his learning, his reserve, all are there full grown.
His peers therefore paint a picture of Edgeworth as a complex individual with a blend of intellectual prowess and personal quirks. His writing style was noted for its difficulty, combining advanced mathematics with classical references, reflecting his broad knowledge and unique approach to economics and ethics. He was self-taught in mathematics, so assumed everyone could understand the mathematics he used. While this meant his contemporaries struggled to fully grasp and accept his innovative ideas, his work laid the foundation for significant developments in economic theory that will be recognised and built on by future generations of economists. In 1891, Edgeworth became the founding editor of the Economic Journal, one of the foremost publications in the field of economics. In this role, he was instrumental in shaping economic study, providing a platform for the dissemination of new ideas and fostering scholarly debate. His editorial leadership helped establish the journal's reputation as a leading forum for economic research. In recognition of his contributions, Edgeworth was elected a Fellow of the British Academy, reflecting his esteemed position within the academic community. Francis Ysidro passed away in 1926, and his obituary was published in the Times newspaper and had this to say about him as a person. Edgeworth was unmarried. He was an insatiable reader, but his love of walking, mountaineering, golf and boating, with his strict and regular habits, maintained to the last his wonderful vitality. Every summer, even at the age of 80, he used to bathe at Parson's Pleasure before breakfast, and he would often be seen riding his bicycle in the country around Oxford or playing on the course at Cowley. To a courtly grace derived perhaps from his Spanish mother, he added the Irish characteristics of humour, imagination and generosity. A lifelong friend has never known him to be out of temper or speak ill words of others. In him, sweetness and light were well combined. He was the merriest of men and seemed to possess the secret of perpetual youth, both of mind and body. So this brings us to the end of another episode of the Edgeworth Echoes podcast. Please share this with friends and family, and I look forward to meeting you all again the next time around. If you are interested in learning more about the Society and the history they preserve, please visit www.mariaedgeworthcentre.com. You can sign up to our newsletter, book tours, learn about our annual literary festival and read up on some of the remarkable people who have links to our town.
This has been the Edgeworth Echoes podcast, rediscovering history.